Good evening and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin and I am the Dream Decipherer, and I help you to crack the code of your sleep and dreams so you can sleep sound and dream deep. This evening I'm kicking off a two-part series on children and sleep or babies in sleep, and the first part is going to look at why sleep is important and what happens when babies are sleeping. The second part will actually look at some of the sleep problems that you may encounter with your baby and some simple solutions. So, why is sleep important? I mean, we're taught from an early age that sleep is important, and we tell us that we need to get sufficient amounts of sleep, but unfortunately, most of us don't listen because who's got time to sleep, right? But sleep is an essential building block for your child's mental and physical health. And if you're finding it impossible to help your toddler to sleep, you're not alone. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, it estimates that sleep problems affect some 25 to 30% of children and 40% of adolescents. So understanding their sleep needs is the first step towards providing better sleep for your children. And it's through a combination of sleep hygiene in terms of routine, which are age appropriate, and close attention to any kind of sleep disturbances or disorders, you can help your child to get the rest they need to grow up strong and healthy. Well, one question I get asked all the time is, how much sleep is enough sleep? Enough sleep basically is a sufficient number of hours for you as an individual to feel rested and alert when you wake up. But for babies and young children, babies need something for between 14 and 18 hours as opposed to the roughly 8 hours of adults. But that will vary depending on their age and their particular needs. But why is this so essential that they sleep so many hours? Well, first of all, most of the baby's brain development happens during sleep, and that is literally happening during their sleep. This is where the time when the connections between the left and right hemispheres of the brain are being formed. So brain synapses or connections are formed during sleep. More than 1 million neural connections are formed per second during their first 3 years of life. Memories, not just for babies, but for adults as well, are formed and stored during sleep. Your baby's brain is processing and storing all that they've learned during the day while they sleep. And a lack of sleep can cause even bigger problems down the road, such as cognitive issues, developmental delays, and other problems, which can sometimes be linked to getting insufficient sleep. Research has shown that sleep impacts other areas of a child's life, including their ability to stay alert and pay attention, their memory, cognitive performance, learning and vocabulary acquisition decreases, and mood and resiliency are also impacted by the amount of sleep they get. And that's true for adults too. I mean, think how ratty your attitude becomes when you haven't had enough sleep. So sleep also has important effects on growth, especially in early infancy. In toddlers, for example, napping appears to be necessary for memory consolidation, executive attention, and the development of motor skills. And even for adults, taking a power nap is worthwhile. Your short-term memory improves, you're more alert, and you retain information better. Now, talking about the sleep in the infant body, it's a human being being built. They're under construction here. And so, as a newborn isn't quite the finished article, and the brain is still learning and growing, the body is also under construction during sleep. Some of the physical processes that occur during sleep include growth. Babies will double their birth weight by around 5 months and triple it by around 12 months. That's a lot of growth in a short space of time, and a good amount of sleep plays an important part in this. Growth hormone called somatotropin rather, is released during the day, but approximately 80% of it is released soon after a child or adolescent is in non-REM sleep. So they're not dreaming, but they're at a deeper stage of sleep. So not getting sufficient amount of sleep can actually stunt their physical development. A study performed showed a link between increased bursts of sleep and growth spurts in body length, which showed that growth spurts both occur during sleep and are influenced by it. And it's thought, as a result of this research, that this may be because of the release of the somatotropin during sleep. Another area that is impacted on the physical level by the amount that babies and young children sleep is weight gain. It's been found that the short sleep duration can lead to childhood obesity, which is rife now. That combined with other factors is driving it. But research found significant correlations between sleep and growth in the baby's first 6 months. And in another study, which looked at some 915 children, found that daily sleep duration of less than 12 hours during infancy appears to be a risk factor for overweight and adiposity, or weight gain, in preschool age children. So while good sleep helps children to grow, less sleep can actually affect their weight in a negative way. Another area is in their mental development and learning abilities. A baby's brain roughly doubles in size in the first year. They develop rapidly, and a lot of this learning is actually done while asleep. Research looked at a number of studies which focused around sleep and mental development in infants, and found correlations between normal sleep development and higher developmental scores, and higher motor activity and night waking negatively correlated with mental scores. In addition, studies were looked at that showed that children with difficult temperaments slept less, and that increased sleep correlated with easier temperaments. Although that's an inaccurate measure, really, but there seems to be a tendency towards that. When, just like with older children and adults, sleep is critical when it comes to memory consolidation. Sleep allows infants to strengthen their memories and things that they've learned while awake, and prepares them for processing and their memories and exploration of their environment, in order to experience sensory stimuli and learn about the contingencies or the events that are happening around them. This processing of information happens during sleep is very important, especially in the first year of life, as this is when a child is completely new to the world and is learning about themselves as well as their environment and the people around them. The immune system is also affected by sleep. And it's the sleep is important for the immune system at any age. It is critically important for babies, as their immune systems are immature and not as strong as that of adults. It takes time for our immune systems to develop, and sleep plays a role in this. If a baby is sleep deprived, they're more prone to disease and infection, and it will affect their recovery time. So, being ill can also negatively impact their sleep by disrupting their sleep cycle and causing less quality sleep in general. There is a strong connection between sleep and brain development. In the womb, it's been found that babies spend about 95% of their time asleep, though I'm not sure that their mothers may agree with that. I know my sister was always complaining her kids were always up in the middle of the night. But as soon as children are born, they still spend the majority of their time sleeping. So that the transition from the womb to the real world is literally exhausting for a baby. They're on sensory overload all the time. So in addition to learning new things and becoming used to this new environment, their bodies are also developing very rapidly, particularly their brains. So when they're actually taking a nap, then storing memories and forming neural connections between both halves of the brain tissue is also developing, and energy is being replenished, and a whole lot more. And I can attest to this because I remember when I married my first husband, and I spoke Portuguese. He was Brazilian, and I spoke Portuguese at the time, but not very well. And I had to tell my in-laws, after midnight, I can't speak to you in Portuguese anymore. My brain was actually on overload. It was just too much sensory input, and I was just too tired. I couldn't handle it. And you can well imagine with a baby where everything is new and having constant input is going to feel overloaded and needs the rest. So the function of sleep here is really the brain recharging its batteries. And after a long day of learning constantly new things, it's particularly important for the baby to be able to rest and recharge, and they need to do it more frequently than adults do. And they basically fall into this pattern of sleeping and eating, and getting cleaned up afterwards. But this is really a recharging cycle for their growing bodies and brains. They need that milk, they need that fuel, they need that sleep. They're really in order to be able to process all the new inputs that they're getting. How much sleep is normal in a baby's first year? I get asked this a lot. And my answer here is that there's no definitive answer. The conventional wisdom says that 12 to 18 hours may be normal, but all babies are different and have different needs. So some may need a bit more sleep, some may a bit less. What it's up to us as adults to be able to observe and see over time once a baby settles into a pattern after the first few months, what seems to be their normal way of being in terms of sleep. But newborns spend about 70% of their time asleep, sleeping often but in short periods, so that it's they're up and down every couple of hours. When they're awake, they of course need to be fed and taken care of and given TLC, which leaves their parents exhausted and sleeping poorly. And as the baby's sleep routine is actually going to be different from their parents, many parents often wonder or worry about whether their child is sleeping well enough. And can get particularly nervous when their children go through periods where their sleep pattern changes for some reason. But even though it's important for your child to get sleep, it's also important that you, as the adult, are getting sleep as well. And the sleep pattern for an infant is dependent on a number of things. And again, as I said before, it's dependent on the individual child. Some children may be too hot, others too cold. Some may be, more clingy. Every child has different needs, and you have to adjust accordingly. It's really down to regular observation of your baby to find out what his or her habits are, to be able to unlock the keys or get the key to their sleep pattern once one is established. And again, that may not happen until the 3 or 4 months when they settle into a particular rhythm. On average, there's over 12 months, the ratio of sleep to waking hours goes down. So a newborn will sleep 8.5 hours and be awake 8 hours. As they start learning more, the amount of hours that they sleep will actually increase. As a result, going from some 8.5 hours as a newborn to some 11 hours at 12 months. So that's really a function of all of the learning that they're doing. So you really just need to relax and observe what is natural for your child. They will let you know what is a good night's sleep for them, because they won't wake up cranky. It is advised that for between the ages of 0 to 3 months, they should sleep for more than 11 hours but less than 19. And at 4 to 11 months, they should sleep for more than 10 hours, but less than 18. There's a lot of play in there, so it's really about observation. But if you think your baby is sleeping too much or not enough, you should contact your healthcare professional to get more advice. So there you have it. It's some of the reasons why it's important for babies to get their sleep, as well as your parents. And in the next part of this series, I'll be looking at, again, some of the sleep issues that are particular to babies and children, as well as some simple and natural solutions. And if you'd like some specific advice for your child around their sleep, please feel free to contact me. I'm happy to give any advice that may help get your baby sleeping better. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a great evening and week to come, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.